Have you ever accidentally come across an interesting book? I guess it's rarer and rarer these days. There aren't so many bookshops, but um, yeah, it's sometimes you come across, you discover something by accident, and it's quite great. This is an example of one. I wrote a review and turned it into a lesson of a book called Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow. Strange last name. But it's called Ragtime. Ragtime is the kind of music, kind of jazz. Do you know Scott Joplin? Da, 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 da. No, no, not like that. I don't know. Look it up. Ragtime. It's kind of, anyway, it's from a certain time period. It's from like the beginning of the 20th century, so like the 1900s. And it was a time when America was becoming a strong country for the first time. Before then, Europe was the boss, maybe. Japan was rising, but especially America was becoming, a big, not exactly a superpower, but it was getting stronger. And there were some famous Americans about in those days. There were, I've got the names here. Have you heard of Booker T. Washington, Harry Houdini, Franz Ferdinand? He wasn't American. Evelyn Nesbit, she was a movie star, I think. Sigmund Freud. Well, actually, these aren't Americans, but famous people of those years. J.P. Morgan, banker, right? And Henry Ford, who started Ford Motor Company. So it's the beginning of very, very famous, successful people. Anyway, and in this world, this story is based. It's set in New York, and it just tells the story of. I'm not really sure because it doesn't have an obvious protagonist. Protagonist is the hero or the person who leads the story. There's tales of different people. There's a black family, there's a white family, uh, and famous people who come and go into the story. But it's mostly about this. It's called the New Rochelle family. I think it's a fictional place, New Rochelle, maybe like New York. I'm not sure. Anyway, and it's just an interesting story about that time period. Um, what else to say? Well, I guess what became very interesting to me was suddenly it became a story about race and black and white people and injustice to a black family, to a black man. I think the black man buys a Ford Model T Ford, one of the first cars, and some of the white people can't believe that he can afford to buy it, and they harass him. They cause him problems. So it's kind of like actually quite a modern story. I think it was written in the 1960s, 1970s. I'm not sure. I don't have the book in front of me. Anyway, it was good. Other things I mentioned in there, the narrative was in third person. Narrative means story, the plot, the story. Third person, we talk about first, second, and third person. And books are usually in third person or first person. And what that means is, well, first person is I. When you say I was walking down the street, I saw somebody, I asked them a question. And you tell a story like that, often face to face, using I. That's first person. Second person is using you. You were going down there, you saw this, and then you see this, and then you said that. And that's not usually used for fiction or for writing. But the third one is third person, where it's like he walked down the street and he saw something, he talked to her, and then they did something. That's third person. First person I, second person you, third person he, she, they. And most books, fiction is in first or third, usually. Or there's what in this review it was called omniscient third, which means it's like the story is written as if God is watching. The hero walked down the street and he saw somebody who would become his enemy. It's like there's not really one person speaking, it's like a view from above. Don't worry, it's complicated, but just wanted to introduce those terms. If you're ever thinking about books and literature, think about how the story is told. Even in Japanese, is it told from the point of view of one person as if you are there, or as if it's a he, she, or as if you're standing way back and the author is looking down? Difficult idea, isn't it? Also in this review, I use some of these expressions. The cultural wastelands of Chiba shopping malls. Cultural wasteland. Culture, bunka. Wasteland, there's none. I'm sort of making a comment about, shopping is just shopping, but there's not much culture involved in standing in a shopping mall. So that's why when I found this book, I think it was in a book off, I was like, wow, hey, great. Here's a good book. I must buy it. Had their fingers in every pie. Have a pie and you put your fingers in it. It means you have interests in many things, or you are involved in many things. And the other one is, I couldn't put it down. We say that about a book. I couldn't put it down means it was really interesting and I had to keep reading. I couldn't put it down. Okay, let me see. Now I've got 3 questions. Have you heard of any of the stars mentioned in Ragtime? Do you remember J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, Harry Houdini? Have you heard of any of these people? Number 2, what genre would you say the book was? Oh, genre. What kind of book is it? Is it action, adventure, historical, mystery, love story? Just from what you know from reading, what do you think? And number 3, have you read any books that you couldn't put down? So interesting. I had to keep reading. Apart from this textbook, obviously. Okay, have a think about those 3 questions and I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much. See you. I'll turn this off. Okay, bye.